Welcome to the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. Today's special guest is Joe Mardian.
Welcome, Joe. Thank you for joining us on our podcast today. How are you?
I am fabulous, Jacqueline. Thank
Eh,
you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. So part of our podcast is we want to dive in and find out what some of our childhood memories are. So I'm going to start with that question and then we'll go from there because people are kind of tired of adulting and we needed to take a break from all that. So we want to dive in and just see who Joe was as a little girl.
Wow. I kind of like her.
Yeah.
I often say now, I'm just trying to get back to 3 years old when I knew
Right.
everything and it was
Yeah.
natural. But probably the one I always go to that's deepest in my heart is I've always been connected. So I have memories of being born. I have memories of like my brother when he died, all sorts of stuff, really
Oh,
premature. But the fun thing for me was connecting with nature. I never really did care for humans.
oh yes.
But I mean, there's a lot I really love, but they don't bully, they don't pick on you, they don't,
Yeah.
a tree would hug me and it would be fine.
Mm.
So I spent a lot of time there, and I was blessed to grow up on a farm in southeastern Saskatchewan. We grew up in the time of the generation pretty much before me, where we had no running water, no sewer, no
Oh, wow.
plumbing, no anything. So, well, running water was me running to the well to get it,
Yeah.
but um, but I had my horse. My horse was my very best friend.
Yeah.
And where we lived, our farm was kind of in the middle, and my mom's mom and dad was a mile through the field one way. My dad's was the mile through the field the other way. Of course, they both retired and went to town, but my dad was over at that side of the family doing some granary, something. And so my brother and I went over there on our horses, went over, and it started to rain. And dad says, well, you guys, better get home. So the wheat fields were fairly high then. And I had those, those little canvas shoes that we had back in the day, really light canvas shoes. And I'm riding on my horse and we're just flying back, and the tips of my toes are touching the top
Oh,
of the wheat, and the smell of the rain, the smell of the wheat, and just that gentle, and just we were just so free. I just
oh,
want to be in that moment all the time because it was the most exhilarating, freeing, connected feeling to the land, to the animal, to the air. It was just
oh,
it's
beautiful.
my heart, that space,
Yeah.
for sure.
So you grew up basically knowing at that age what you wanted to do, obviously, for the rest of your life, is to
Um,
feel that connection.
well, I knew I wanted to feel that connection, but I also knew it came with a lot of challenges.
Hmm.
Uh, I, I didn't know any, like most of us, we don't know any different. We think everybody's supposed to be like this. We don't know that it's different. And I learned very early on that I couldn't know what I know,
Yeah.
because it would be things like I would sense somebody, and I would see like just maybe like some dark energy or something, and I would be like, I'm so, an empath.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's so sad. And I'd take it on,
Yeah.
or I would go like, that person's not okay for whatever. And then you'd get from the adults, you're not supposed to be eavesdropping. Don't listen on, And
Yeah.
so like, my little self was like, I was just speaking truth and I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I was 14 months old when my brother was born. I was 16 months old when he passed.
Oh my.
And and he told me he was going to die. And I'm like, but you can't, because you're the only one that hears me, like in our, little kid or,
Yeah.
non-English language. And he says, it's okay. I'll always be around.
Yeah.
And then I remember what, after the funeral, all these people were walking around the house in like black clothes and sad and stuff. And I remember the awareness of going, I don't understand. He told me he was leaving. Didn't he tell you?
Yeah.
There was that confusion and stuff. And I spent a lot of my childhood sick because
Oh,
I would take on, I didn't know how to work with the energy, right? So I
right.
just knew I didn't want you to be sick or whatever. So I would take it on and it would show up for me in various diseases. Like, I had a lot of ear problems, wax draining on my ear,
Yeah.
tonsillitis, appendix.
Oh
I
wow.
spent a lot of my younger years in hospitals.
Oh no.
I had lots of surgeries and stuff.
Oh my,
So yeah.
oh my goodness.
it's like a second home. It served purpose because when my dad was dying, it was like a year-long journey, and I could sit in the hospital for 16 hours a day, no big deal. Everybody else that bothers them, well, it's not a big deal to me. I can do it. So all the things that we struggle with end up being a blessing in some way. We don't realize it yet.
Yeah.
But a lot of my experiences, as I grew up, I knew I was supposed to go through it so then I could help others.
Yeah.
And so that's the blessing, right?
Right. Absolutely. So, so doing what you do today, do you resort back to your childhood a lot?
As I said, I try to get back to when I was 3.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got so much to tune into. We're so programmed by society to how we have to think, what we need to know, and good, bad, right, wrong. And that's crazy. That's a witch. That's a whatever.
Yeah.
All it is love,
Yeah.
And so I had struggled. I got married very young to an abusive alcoholic, which I didn't know when we got married, but we found out within a couple months when I got the first really big blow. And we were together for 10 years, married for 8.5. And when I left that, I could say I'm blessed because it's like I always knew it wasn't about me.
Yeah.
Although there I felt trapped. And so I really understand the grooming and the abuse person because, they make it so it's all your fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bad one. And so I did attempt suicide to try to get out. I thought I was, if you think of the little angel and devil on your shoulder, the devil's going like, you're so miserable and you're so whatever. Your family would, if you really loved your family, you would do this because, you're of no good. And so, went through that. But then I had times when I was there, like I left 11 times. The 11th time was the time I really got out. And the night before that, he threatened to kill me if I ever thought to leave. So it was, but once you stand in your power, they have no more control, right?
Right.
It's not that it was an easy journey, but it was still there. And I'm very blessed because I've always been connected to Jesus, not necessarily in the form. Yes, I was raised in the Catholic Church, but it wasn't that. It was him as a master.
Right.
And when I was going through struggles, I'd walk down the country roads and I could literally feel him right beside me and talking to me. So I've always looked to him for, everything I've done, especially since I moved to Medicine Hat, has been guided. I put it out there. I ask, this is what I want to create for my life. I was blessed to have a second marriage that is amazing. And, someone who's willing to work at it because, of course, you both bring your stuff into it. And I had been asked in spirit for, I want to find out who I am because I went from being a kid to having kids. I wanted to find my passion and I wanted to create a good, solid foundation for our marriage so that I don't have, because then you have all these personalities that then can do whatever.
Right.
So my husband was working for Alberta Energy and they were going to open a plant in California.
Oh, wow.
And so they asked him to go down there and for natural gas storage, they asked him to go down there and set it all up. And we were supposed to be there for 1.5 to 2 years just to get it all built, set up, and then hire somebody to take over his role. And my kids were teenagers then, and they didn't want to go because, and so they stayed here. So what happened when I got down there, he was working so much, I had to look at me.
Yeah.
I had to, and then we were down there by ourselves. Like we were there for 8.5 years. So then we had that time to really work on us. I got all 3 of those wishes done while I was there. And so although on the surface, it looked like we went there for his work.
Yeah.
The spirit taking me where I needed to be. And it's actually very beautiful because it's one of those things that I always trust. I'm supposed to go here. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. So I just follow it.
Right.
So we had, I was introduced to a fellow in Chico who did some energy work along with massage, and they were having a healing arts fair. So I went there, and well, we both, my husband and I both went there. And then one lady was doing this meditation at the front, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like feeling really connected to her. And I just hear this, "You're supposed to know her."
Oh,
Okay. So then after she was done her presentation, other people were talking. My husband wanted to leave. So I said, okay, fine, but I'm coming back here in the morning. So I'm there before her. I'm talking to this other guy. She comes in, she sits down to get ready. And I said, hi, my name is Joe, and I'm supposed to know you. And she goes, okay, what now? And I said, I don't know. That's as far as I got. So she said, do you want to read? And I go, oh, okay, sure. And carried on from then. We became good friends, did stuff back and forth. And she called me one day. I was walking around downtown, and she goes, Joe, I just got a message from guide saying you're supposed to go to this school. Okay. So I contact the teacher of the school, go meet her, and ended up going to that school. And the very first weekend I was there, I was bawling because I was home. I knew this stuff. And that's kind of what happens is like when you vibrate with who you are, it all comes flooding back because we lose a lot of the memories from our soul of things that we've done in the past.
yeah.
So that was a beautiful thing. And because I was down there, I did a lot of volunteering because I couldn't work at first.
Yeah.
Inner city schools, halfway houses, taught parenting classes, did all of these things from my experiences and life experiences up here because I had worked for social services up here in admin before we went down. And so it was really beautiful. I got to do 4 years of that program. I also did some acupressure training from Berkeley, Akashic Records, sacred geometry, a bunch of, once you get on this roll, you take all of this stuff. And so I got introduced to this really cool shaman, went on some retreats and stuff with him. So I had a real wealth of experience by the time I moved back here. I had my own practice down there with a naturopath doctor.
Oh, wow.
And so I started that and started teaching classes and had clients. And then, you just know it's time to go home.
Yeah.
And my grandkids were here, and my kids are saying like, they're going to be graduating by the time don't that I need to. So we came back in 2007, and I started by doing meditation groups in my home, and a beautiful group of people. And I had said to the group one time, I said, well, we used to do these healing arts fairs down in California, and I just feel like I'm supposed to help the people, and, how can we do this? And I said, well, we'll help you if you want to do something here. So we tried to come up with a name that was more neutral.
Yeah.
We came up with Natural Health and Healing Expos.
Oh, nice.
So I started that in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was going around finding people that would be interested in being vendors, I was at a building. I thought, if I have 12 or 13 people, it's a good start. Well, I had 45, the first one. I had the newspaper call me, the health editor person, and she says, she started, we were on the phone for about 2 hours. I'm telling her about all this stuff. She goes, what? We have all this in Medicine Hat? I said, yeah. And she says, I'm supposed to know this. And I go, well, they're all underground because energy work isn't considered real or whatever. So anyhow, had a couple, and then people started saying, I love this. Will you come do one in my town? And I said, no, but I'll help you do it because I feel like it's important that it's local people, because then they know they care about them.
Yeah.
And the reason it's set up like every other expo or market or whatever, but my guidance, again, I always trust my guidance. And they were very clear. They said it's to be non-competitive, non-judgmental, a place where people can come and get answers to their questions, try different products and services, and trust their God-given intuition for what's right for them. So we would tell somebody, I've got the answer for you.
Yeah.
No pitches. And although that's hard when you've got a lot of people, because that's how they're trained by whatever organization they're with, I really tried to hold that energy. So my thinking was, say if it was you and me, and you had the same product as I did, there's going to be people that connect with you that don't connect with me, and vice versa. So if we really believe in the product, we shouldn't care who they get it from.
Right.
We do. We're making it about us, not the client. It always has to be about the client.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And then if, say we had a so-called competing product,
Yeah.
my job is, well, this is what this product's done for me. And this is what I really love. But you know what? Jacqueline's around the corner. Why don't you go talk to her about that? And then you decide what's right for you.
Right.
So the people who need somebody to say, I've got the answer for you and put other people down, if you need that in your life, you're going to be drawn to that. But I won't do it.
Yeah.
I just won't do it. So that's kind of what led me through them all. And then we ended up through that, it started spreading, and we had over 20 expos from High River to Verdun.
Oh my goodness.
In between. And so I helped all them do it. But then what happened was I would do a program for each expo, and in it I would do a welcome, and then I would do a page like a map where everybody is, and then list that, and then have a presentation page. And then if somebody wanted to advertise a little bit, then I would have that in there, so it would help pay for the programs. Mm-hmm. And then of course I'm kind of a major recycler, so then I was concerned about if I order 500 and I only need 400, then I'm wasting, et cetera, et cetera. And then when these other expos started happening, then people, if they went to them all, they'd have to pay for an ad for each one. So anyhow, I had met a lovely friend, and he's a graphic designer. So we decided to do a natural health and healing directory. And so this would be good for year round, and it could be put in doctor's office, cafes, whatever, during the year. And so then at an expo, we would put an insert in the middle with the welcome, the layout, etc. But then if you were in there, it would say your name, see ad page, whatever it was in the book. So then it was more useful.
Right.
So we did that. And I'm the type of person who likes to get things started. I'm a very earth person. Yeah. And then somebody else take it over, make it bigger, better, stronger.
Yeah.
So that happened with the expos. I did 4, and then a lovely, lovely person took it over, because then she does everything online. Like me, I'm taking contacts, people picking them up, doing everything. But then the directory, same thing, but there seems to be an issue. People don't want to take stuff over when you don't make any money. So I ended up, my designer, the second one, the first one had a black cover, and the second one, I said, I think we should keep the images the same so it's familiar, but have the cover different color each time, so they know it's a new issue. So he gave me a couple choices, and I went with the gold. And then Spirit told me after that, you're coming from the void, the black, which contains all colors, and it's a void to create from no thing. And then we're going to go down through all the chakras. So we went, the black, then the gold, then the purple, then the blue, green, pink, yellow, orange, red. And then we went to white, which is also all colors. Yeah. But that's like creating from everything we know. And so I committed to doing the 9, and then we were complete. Interestingly enough, in 2020, we were done.
Oh my goodness.
So we did that. And then in the meantime, we also put together a website as a place where people could go to find out what was happening all across the prairies, all of the natural health stuff. And I always had a feeling that this would run so long, and then all of this stuff was to wake people up. And even with the directory, the part I hated was calling it ads, because I don't, it's like, that sounds business, but I couldn't come up with another name. And my guides are very, you heard of the Staples easy button?
Oh yeah.
They do that with my third eye. They go,
oh yes.
and they were like, I said, I don't want to be I don't want to be Yellow Pages salesperson. And they're like, Joe, this is not the Yellow Pages. This is an energy. And anybody who chooses to be in this is a light. And then there's a grid drawn to all of us. And then that creates an energy that people in all those areas. So basically from Calgary all the way to Verdun, they start waking up, and they may go to an expo. They may find the directory. They may just be curious and go do something. So it's waking people up to look at their options.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, I followed through on that. And then I felt like when that was complete, because Spirit had been telling me for quite a while, I was supposed to be building a off the grid retreat center.
Off grid. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Get into it. Yeah. And so I had been done about the 5th directory. And so I'm sitting down with my guides, and I'm saying, like, look at dudes. I thought you were going to somehow bring the space for this to happen. And I got 4 directories left. I kind of thought we would be starting it by the time I was done these directories. You could, I'm starting to feel like Noah in the Ark, because you could have picked somebody with land or money, as opposed to a little farm kid from Saskatchewan, to pull this off. So anyhow, they're like, nope, you're supposed to do it. Okay, fine. So I managed to procrastinate and put them off a bit. When I had said this to them, and I don't know how many people out there talk to their guides. They're not talking like you and me. You just get images and they stand there when I'm making an excuse and I'm like, why me? And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, fine, it's me. But, who says I can even do it? Okay, fine. Well, but I may not know it. How do I know the community even wants it? Okay, well, okay, so give me an in-between place to see if I'm even capable and if the community wants it. A week later, I started Nirvana 101.
Oh, wow.
And so went into that. And then I thought I was off the hook for the off-grid thing, because I got Nirvana going. So we expanded we started out with just the sort of the front space, started in 2016, expanded again because somebody came in and said they wanted to do float tanks. And so then we opened up more space for another room, a bigger workshop space.
Yeah.
And then it was 3-year lease. So then the next year we cleaned up some bathrooms in there that were gross.
Yeah.
Because it's like a capital glass and look after bathrooms. And then in 2018, there was another business along that side that was a print shop, and they were in a partnership, and that partnership was going to be dissolved. And the one guy says, I don't want all of this space. I only want about half of it. And so the landlord came to me to see if I wanted the other half. And of course, I have somebody else coming in and saying, Joe, you really need salt room in here. And I'm like, where am I going to put a salt room? And then this came up. So because of a salt room, I added 6 more rooms.
Oh my God.
We're at 6,000 square feet now.
Oh my gosh.
And then, so with all sorts of services, we have people coming from Calgary, Edmonton that go, we've got all this. They come in and they go, oh my God, this goes on forever. Like, I had no idea, because you just see the store up front, the gift boutique. And they said, we have all this, but you got to go to 7 different places.
Right.
So anyhow, that's where we were at. And then I did some, we got windows all the way around. So I got a guy to do a vinyl thing for a door that a lot of heat was coming in, just to use the other door. And it was Nirvana. And he goes, you got a huge billboard here with all these windows. So then we put, I allowed the practitioners in there, they would use a window for their advertising. And then we did some general for the store. And then, in as bad as COVID was, and we were shut down for a few months, we actually did really well in 2021. And I was so thrilled that people were now starting on their path, because Nirvana means heaven, means paradise. And our suite number is 101. So I think of it like physics 101, plumbing 101, beginning of your journey to finding the heaven within you, your own peace. So the store has the candy, if you will, or the tools for the real work that goes on with all the practitioners. And I was very excited about it. And then, but we did really well because people couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And once they could go, I guess they would have rather sat in an airport and not actually get to their place and be there for after they saved money for years to have their holiday. And then they, it was traumatic for them.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect it to go down, but it has. So, but during that time, I was able to have a down payment for a property. And then they were really on my case. They're like, I need to do this. And they don't let me argue. I was going to work one day and they were really, I could just hear them in my head. Okay, it's time to really do this. And I'm like, but don't you know, with all the, and they just, I don't know if you've ever had this where somebody goes, beep, 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 shut your mouth. And they said, we've got that all looked after. You just have to do what you do. Fine. So I go off and I get a realtor friend, show me property. I thought for my layout, I'd need like 5 to 9 acres. We went and looked at stuff and I'm like, that won't work, because all of those acreages, like a lot of them have commercial greenhouses and your neighbors are actually really close.
Yeah.
And I said, I need the peace and quiet. So I figured I'd need close to a quarter section. So I knew there was nothing else around. So anyhow, I went and looked with that realtor. I thought I was off the hook, not off the hook. So anyhow, I find out about this property, go out and look at it. I really love the feel of the land. Ended up getting it. So it's like half an hour, 35 minutes. Well, depending where you are in the city, out of town. And so I thought, okay, everything I've done was work, but it flowed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this property, the previous owners, the home inspector or the realtor failed to disclose, it was a log home, that there was rotted logs that they had covered up, filled it with like foam, scrap wood, put a faux wood covering on it, whatever, so that they could sell it. And so we're dealing with litigation over that now because, so there's been a huge amount of stress, and I'm going to Spirit like, why? What? Why is this happening? And and so it's all lessons. I don't know. There's ebbs and flows. It's, and I keep going. Like, I've never written myself a paycheck. Everything I've done for the last 20 years has always gone back into the vision. And I put far more value in spiritual equity than I do anything else, maybe to my own detriment, because it would be nice to, have something from it. But anyhow, so we started out there. And it's supposed to be built by the community for the community. I've got about 35 acres dedicated to that. So it will be kind of like an extension of Nirvana. Nirvana's in town. That's out there. I've had great ideas. We have a people sponsored trees. I said, we got to get trees out there. It's high desert, right? Got trees out there because it takes them a while to grow. And so we've been watering them and dealing with them. And then the idea was to build a pavilion and have the community sponsor bricks, and then they would paint the brick, and then so it would go all around the pavilion and be this beautiful mosaic of our community on these bricks. And then with the money from that, I thought we could build the pavilion and do some of the other projects. And marketing is not my skill set, as you can tell. I'm not in technology. So I talk to people one-on-one, but I've been promoting it for 2 years. I've got like less than 60 bricks sponsored. So
wow.
I'm not getting too far on that. So then I keep listening. I'm going, okay, how can I move ahead? It's a field. What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And so I had an inheritance from my parents that I wanted to do something out there in honor of them, not just spend it on bills and whatever. I wanted to do something in memoriam. So I ended up building this building that will, when it opens, be like a little gift boutique in my office. But in the meantime, it has a bathroom and everything. And so it's a place now people can come out. If it's raining, we have a place to go in. It's like 384 square feet. So it's not huge, but it's lovely. So we did that a couple of years ago. And then we were so blessed. We had some solar panels donated. So my son is a genius, and I built him. So so all by myself, I made him. So he come up with this whole idea to do the solar panels, like put it in a frame. It's portable, so we can put it wherever on the property. And so this past year that was like infrastructure stuff. Like, on the property, there's a road that goes into where the house is. And my daughter lives there, so that's private property. And then down going into the field is a lane coming into the actual center. There was a Texas gate there. I didn't want it there because it's like blocking energy. So this year we got that removed, got the solar, everything hooked up for that. But last year, what we did get done was a labyrinth. Wow. So it's beautiful. And so I thought that was going to be a long, hard job because I'm out there. I put myself into an ox, like, how am I going to level all the dirt? And then I thought, I'm a farm girl. I just got a 2x10, put big rocks on it, tied a rope on both ends, and became the ox and dragged it around.
Joe.
And then, I had friends, we were shoveling stuff. People got injured with rocks. We were throwing them because it's all built with rocks, right? But then I thought, this is going to take months. And then I said, well, I'll do one more weekend. And I had probably 12 or 14 people that joined us, and we lickety split. We got that thing done. So we did a couple of walks last year. And then this year I had a beautiful event at the end of September. We had 24 people there. There was about 10 more, I think, that would have come, but it was really windy and they didn't know. But this is how Spirit works. It was
Right.
windy all day, and then it just calmed right down because we did a labyrinth walk and a fire ceremony, and everybody absolutely loved it. So I got to have one thing out there.
Oh, how
And it brings us to
beautiful.
today.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I can't wait to see it.
Well, you must come. Must
Yeah.
come, and I will give you a tour around Nirvana and take you out there and just to feel it. I
Yeah.
also have a pyramid that I have a swing in there, like
Yeah.
a egg-shaped thing that I sit in. That's where I sit and meditate. Oh, we also created a uh, hammock triangle.
Oh,
So basically put posts in the ground. If you
yeah.
put 2 posts, you can string 1 hammock. If you put 3 posts, you can string 3 hammocks.
Oh,
So I got these hammocks that we got in at the store, and they have mosquito netting on them. So
yep.
you can just lay. I put like a lounge thing from a pool
Yep.
lounge,
Mhm.
put that in the middle so it's more comfy. But if the bugs are bugging me in my pyramid, then I just go there and I can read and relax and lay in there, look at the stars, and it's it's so peaceful. And I got a camper that first year, the first year out there, I got a camper. So that's my little home away from home. And I try to be out there as much as I can.
Yeah.
And do you know what I hear when I'm out there?
What?
Nothing.
I
Silence. Absolute silence. The coyotes don't even start until like 5 in the morning or something. I go, thanks, buds.
and
That's
how
cool.
spirit
Oh, I tell you, the miracles that I've seen out there is just like I almost cry every time I have to come
Oh,
there.
I bet.
But then the other blessing was in all of this is that in 2023, I have been teaching. I teach a class called Journey Through the Chakras, where I teach people about their chakras and the levels of their field, because you're
Right.
more than just one or the other. And that's really about you, like looking after you. And then I also teach based on all my years of teaching. I teach a healing practitioner course as well. And so I do a few here and there. I've been doing them for 20 years. Of course, the busier Nirvana got
Yeah.
left to the side. But then I just reached out to you have to take the chakra class before you can take the healing practitioner. And I just reached out to all the people who had taken it. And I thought, well, because I max out at 6 people.
Mhm.
So I thought, well, if I have a class of 6 and 1 of 4, that's doing good. Well, from January 2023 until today, I've hardly had a weekend off other than
Oh,
through the summer. And so it's such a blessing because I'm so excited for all the light workers that are
oh,
coming
that's amazing.
forward. Um, I don't I don't have a very high rate for my classes, but that extra, because I
Yeah,
can't get paid from Nirvana, has helped me to do the things I need to do out at the center to finish that off. So yeah, so
that's amazing, Joe.
it's a yeah, you think you really haven't done anything in life, and then when you actually do this, where you say
Yeah,
it, well, I guess that's
take
okay.
inventory.
I've actually done a little bit.
I'm doing
But,
inventory.
there's so much more to do because it's like they've been telling me to do the center for 15 years. And then I was like, okay, now it's here. Now, come on, let's get the whatever to get it done. And it's like, you didn't listen to us, so don't expect us. It's all in the right timing. Okay.
So what is the name of the center?
Is the Trinity Empowerment Center. And the
Oh,
reason I called it that is because everything's a 3 for me, and
mhm.
it's my body, spirit. And I thought about healing, I thought about wellness, I thought about whatever, but it just kept coming back as empowerment, because I truly believe that if people are more empowered, if we can teach kids, like have some sort of an alternative school that's like that you have critical thinking and problem solving skills, and learn what nature has to offer you, that you won't be manipulated by systems or people telling you, you know, you've got this disease, ADHD or whatever, just because you're playing too many video games and they're actually running and playing, or like burning off your energy, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So I feel if we're empowered, so everything out there, and I want the space to be, if you have a passion, somebody has a passion, and you need a place to do it, there you can do it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that's amazing, Joe. That's a lot of information. And we are going to put all your social media and all the contact information link on this podcast. So everyone will be able to check it out and watch how you progress with your retreat center. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be amazing. So I just want to touch on what other services you're going to have there.
Um, Well, the idea is to, at the center, you mean
Yes.
the center? Okay, so I have a map. I don't know if I sent you that picture, but it's an idea to start. So there's all sorts of things. Like I want to create a triangle, so you'll have the pavilion,
Yeah.
and that will have like a patio, and then hopefully by the hill do a little amphitheater, so we can have people who come out there, maybe bands, maybe somebody who's doing some sort of a workshop, so it could be inside, or if they want to be under the stars, they could be under the stars. At some point, build a center, so that we can have a lot of the indoor stuff. I want to create aircrete cabins.
Oh,
So
nice.
fireproof, insect proof, and they're rather reasonable. It's just to get the people up to teach us, and all that is going to cost a lot of money. So that's what I was hoping to get when we did the pavilion. So we'll have cabins. In the meantime, people could bring their campers or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we would have healing huts. So basically, it'd be a little hut that if we have people, say, from other countries coming, we would give them a list of services we could provide, and then they could book whatever. And then I would just have practitioners from Medicine Act come out and provide that for them. So I think it's like a worldwide thing. And then, like, if there's one idea, there's a person who wants to build one of these buildings, but then they have like, when you walk in, there's a bench on both sides that you can lay on, but on the back side, it's a beehive. So you have bees buzzing under, and that's very healing. So that's the type of thing I mean by ideas of people have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then I want to have like an in-ground trampoline for kids to play, and a swing, and some of the stuff we had way back, like that are taken away from, have something simple like a horseshoe pit. I'm going to have some of the stuff I can do fairly easy. I can do a medicine wheel. I can do, things like that. So we'll have just anything the mind can think of, or somebody has ideas of, for people to come out and explore and have experiences. And on top of that, there's this, I can't remember what it's called. I didn't even know it was there till a friend of mine moved here, and they found it, took me over there. But as the crow flies, I bet you it's no more than 5 minutes from there, but it's on Crown land, and it looks like Alberta's Grand Canyon.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. And so you're supposed to ask permission to go over there. Like, there's a phone number and stuff, but I would like to coordinate that too and do some stuff in there. There's all these really cool hoodoos and caves, and it's really cool over there. So, and then of course, Red Rock Coulee, there's all these other, things that we can explore out and have ceremony, or expose people not from around here too. Oh, we're expected to expose people from here, even go into the teepee, like,
right.
I used to do drum circles and medicine wheels and all sorts of stuff at the teepee, like,
that's cool.
The energy of it. So so that's the hope, is just, it'll be the gathering place for people that just want to heal, become empowered in their life. And I hope we draw teachers, spiritual people, whoever that can facilitate that. So this will be the holding place for all of that to happen.
You will. I know it in my heart. You will.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. It was a pleasure having you here. And I hope you can come back maybe in about 6 months or so and give us an update on how it's going.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so great to see you again. It seems
nice
like
to see
forever. And thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
You too, Joe. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us at the 3 Moons, 3 Souls podcast.